Hey gang, what's up? Aaron, Kennedy, and Looney. Let's hop right into it. Oh my God, we've got obnoxious Carnage. He's now the leader of a party that is without
So, Janice, there was a lot in that announcement and even more in the Q&A. Let's walk through some of it.
Yeah, the Prime Minister said he was not out celebrating these by-election victories last night. He was busy working on announcements like this, really wanting to take a tone of humility and you know, right back at it today. Not at all triumphant or celebratory, notwithstanding the fact that his government has reached an important milestone in getting a majority of the House of Commons. This announcement today is not exactly what Conservatives were calling for a couple of weeks back. They were saying that all the federal taxes should be stripped off of the cost at the pumps, but they're doing some of it anyway. The 10 cents a litre fuel tax coming off for those who use regular gasoline. It's 4 cents on diesel, and this will affect sort of the cost of airline fuel as well. For those deficit hawks out there who say, sure, yeah, that's the extra, you know, money going back to the wallets of drivers, but what about the impact on the federal treasury? This change worth $2.4 billion, they say, with another $40 million on the airline portion of it. Mark Carney's saying that they believe they can, in his words, recycle this, that government revenues in other areas are going to be going up, and they very carefully calibrated this to sort of remain inside sort of their overall kind of fiscal boundaries, if you will. He contrasted that with what he portrayed as the Conservatives proposing, something that would have been perhaps significantly more expensive. Remember, this is the sort of move that affects GST revenues as well, because the GST goes on top of everything else you pay for at the pump. He gave us another important kind of indication that this is just one of several economic moves coming. We've been watching to get a date for a spring economic update. He's now using the phrase "in a few weeks" to describe when that is coming. He says there will be a series of measures in there, both short-term and long-term payoffs for the government's strategy, he says, are coming. So we watch for that date from Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne, even as I think with a number of recent announcements from his government, I think some of us feel like we're getting our mini budget in dribs and drabs in advance as the spring goes along. But in terms of sort of their ability to execute economic strategy like this, do they need to refresh the team? You know, is he sort of inspired by the results of the by-election to want to call a general? No and no. No cabinet shuffle, he said. He's confident with the team he has. He says he's not considering calling an election. He says people want the government to govern. And so he shall in the various ways that he was describing for reporters this morning.
Now, a lot of people, of course, have called into question what they call political maneuvering, because even as the Prime Minister is laying out plans, now that he has a majority government, he's still facing a lot of questions about how he got there. So what did he have to say about that?
Yeah, and these are concerns we've seen expressed on the streets this morning. Still some unease about floor crossers helping to deliver this majority government. It's something Opposition Leader Pierre Poilievre was continuing to emphasize about the by-election results. By-elections in which his party really, their share of the vote went down substantially, but he wanting to sort of go on attack last evening, talking about in his social media post the fact that this just resulted from what he called backroom deals by people who betrayed the voters who voted for them and then decided to switch over to the Liberals. Carney tried to sort of defend against the suggestion that this was an ill-gotten majority on his part. He took issue with the suggestion that they didn't really win because these were all Liberal seats anyway, pointing out just how close Terrebonne is and how this is a nationalist Quebec riding, not one that is normally a Liberal turf. Wharf, not wanting to undermine or discredit the success that they had there and the hard work that went into it. He was asked by our colleague about what's going to change going forward in this Parliament as a result of having a majority. And his answer was quite partisan and quite interesting. Take a listen.
There's a difference between real testimony, real substance, getting to issues, debating aspects of law, advancing. That's the job of parliamentarians, and showboating. We're going to have less of that. We're going to have more substance. Sure. I think all parliamentarians, in the end, will appreciate that, even if it's a change for some of them.
It's a creep.
Giving a reference there to some filibuster tactics we saw earlier this year at the Justice Committee, alluding to the fact that he thinks even some people on the opposition bench might want to get past what have been very, very tense and sometimes conflict-driven partisan debates instead of policy moves in recent minority parliaments. Interesting, just as a final point, he talked about how he's open to taking ideas from anyone, but that to govern is to choose. And so even as he talks about wanting to move forward now with things like lawful access legislation, I think those crime bills will be things that'll move forward more quickly now in a majority government. He still wants to set a tone of conciliation, that this isn't sort of only Liberals deciding everything no matter what. We'll see if that tone continues, but that's what he's saying, at least on day one here. Even as
How's it going, Brenda Hyde? We're not going to miss you this time.
As he is the ultimate, of course, decider, the person choosing among the suggestions in front of him.
Thanks for this, Janice. That is the CBC's Janice McGregor in Ottawa. Okay,
They're
so
so
let's
bad
drill
at
down
the
a little bit
CBC.
more on that announcement that we heard from the Prime Minister that there will be the temporary suspension of the federal fuel tax on gasoline and diesel through the summer months. So for more on those gas prices and how they're affecting Canadians across the country, let's bring
Does that do anything for grocery prices?
and the CBC's Mark Carcasole. Okay, so let's talk about the current situation right now. What is the price at the pumps looking like across the country?
Well, certainly not low, Arthi. I mean, a little lower than we have seen in the last couple weeks at various parts, but certainly not cheap by any means. In fact, still quite high. Let's bring up the map and we can show you where things stand. BC in particular continues to be the most expensive province when it comes to gas. Look at the difference just from Vancouver to Abbotsford. $2.08 a liter in Vancouver, $190.1 a liter in Abbotsford. In Alberta, there's a bit of a difference between Edmonton and Calgary. You could see Manitoba seems to be pretty average right across the province. The price that you're seeing in Winnipeg there, $173.4 a liter. Go over to Quebec for a second, where you could see there's a bit of a discrepancy between Montreal and Quebec City, where it's just under $2 a liter now. Nova Scotia, 178.7 cents a liter. Ontario seems to be pretty stable between the 170 and 172 marks that you're seeing between Toronto and Ottawa, just as it is pretty much geographically in the center of the, or close to the center of the country. The same goes for prices. We spoke to drivers in Toronto this morning to get their thoughts on the price of gas as it stands right now. Look, no one is saying that they like the price of gas where it is right now, but there's a bit of a difference in terms of tolerance to it. Have a listen.
I think the most pressing issue right now is perhaps lowering the
Let's get the most liberal person to try to explain why this is.
the gas taxes to help. I mean, everybody feels that, anybody who uses a vehicle. And not only that, but all the transportation, all the truckers, everything, it'll be affected in the costs of absolutely everything. So I think if they lower that, we see government revenues will be down, but it'll help Canadians and they'll feel positive about that.
Yeah. It's cost of doing business, right? You're in Canada, right, not in Africa. So I think I'm okay. I mean, it's not a big deal, to be honest with you. I think the gas prices, okay, maybe they are a little bit higher on the higher end, but I think it's okay. It's still manageable.
Pretty wide dichotomy there from it's a major thing to it's not a big deal. But when you factor in the price of gas going higher and that surprise cost, in addition to your food, your rent or mortgage or whatever the case may be, and all the other bills you're paying, a lot of Canadians are looking for some relief right now.
You also factor in the time of year. Gas prices are scheduled to get a slight bump very soon. Tell us more about that.
Yes, that's because of the old summer blend that we always see coming to a gas station near you around this time of year every year. It costs more because it's more expensive to produce. It will cost at least 5 more cents per liter at the gas pump. I say will, but it could already because it will be implemented no later than April 15th. But here is Heather Exner-Perot. She's a senior fellow and director of energy, natural resources and environment at the Macdonald-Laurier Institute in Ottawa. Many people think summer gas is a scam. She says no.
All right, enough of that, guys. Let's see what's going on in Parliament. I think that we might... Here we go.
Over private property rights by failing to defend fee simple ownership in court and dropping
This is live question period, like we're dropping into it live.
key legal arguments. This government has sparked fear and financial chaos. Appraisers are warning that effective property values could plunge 40%. Financing is drying up and projects are already being canceled. This is a massive failure of leadership. Conservatives are calling on the Prime Minister to reinstate strong legal defense of private property, ensure all agreements unmistakably protect ownership, deliver a clear plan within 30 days, immediately convene a Parliament committee. Canadians deserve certainty and security, not empty words. The government must protect Canadian homes and restore confidence now.
L'honorable député de Berthier-Masquinongé.
Monsieur le Président, le 4 avril dernier, la communauté de Saint-Paulin disait adieu à l'un de ses plus illustres citoyens, M. Claude Frappier. Élu conseiller pour la première fois en 2004, son souci du bien commun le pousse à prendre la charge de maire par intérim en novembre 2020. Réélu maire en 2021, il occupa le poste avec une détermination et un dévouement sans précédent, s'assurant de remplir avec rigueur chacun de ses engagements. La maladie le forcera finalement à ne pas renouveler son mandat. M. Frappier était apprécié de tous, toujours attentif aux besoins des autres, ouvert d'esprit et généreux. Il a laissé sur toute la communauté de la MRC de Masquinongé une marque indélébile qui restera gravée dans nos mémoires. L'affluence impressionnante de personnes venues lui rendre hommage le 4 avril dernier en témoigne. Monsieur Frappier, vous avez été un modèle d'engagement et de dévouement pour le bien de la collectivité. Merci.
Bravo! L'honorable député de Compton-Stanstead.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. L'agriculture et l'alimentation sont au cœur de l'identité de ma région. De la terre jusqu'à la table, des femmes et des hommes engagés font rayonner notre savoir-faire. Un exemple, Karine Vachon et Jean-François Bolduc de la ferme JF Bolduc. Depuis 25 ans, ils innovent, ils améliorent leurs pratiques et ils contribuent à une agriculture plus durable. Leur travail a été reconnu récemment au gala du réseau des fermes durables de l'Estrie. L'excellence des cantons de l'Est rayonne aussi.
Okay, where are the interpreters? Sorry, gang. Like, it's just, we can't have that nonsense without it being explained. Oh, we're real slow, are we?
A plan to eliminate the fuel excise tax, the GST on gas and diesel, the industrial carbon tax, and the clean fuel standard for the rest of the year. A plan that would cut costs at the pump by 25 cents per litre, saving a family of four $1,200 this year. Canadians deserve affordable fuel and food. Conservatives will continue to fight the cost of living crisis, restore economic growth, and make life affordable again.
The honourable member for Markham-Stouffville.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Society of Gynecologic Oncology of Canada says we are in a national silent health crisis. Cervical cancer has become the fastest rising form of cancer in Canada. Last year, an estimated 1,650 Canadian women were diagnosed with cervical cancer, and 430 will die from the disease. Cervical cancer has been in decline for decades, but in recent years, rates have been on the rise. This This is a disease that is almost entirely preventable through human papillomavirus vaccination, easily diagnosed through cervical screening, and highly curable when treated early. Last July, our government released an action plan to eliminate cervical cancer by 2040. During this April Cancer Prevention Month, Canadian women need to know that HPV vaccination and cervical screening can save lives.
The honourable member for Brandon Souris.
Mr. Speaker, Canadian gas prices have soared and the time for action is now. Unsurprisingly, the Liberals have only just stumbled out of the gate. Conservatives have presented a plan with real solutions for Canadians amidst an affordability crisis that Liberals created. Here's the solution. Cut 4 costly Liberal gas taxes. Our plan would halt the fuel excise tax and the fuel standards tax until the end of 2026 and permanently remove the GST and the industrial carbon tax. These taxes cost Canadians an extra 25 cents a litre in gas and 21 cents a litre in diesel. Cutting taxes keeps that money in Canadians' pockets. This morning, the Liberals attempted to poach this plan, but true to form, they didn't even copy and paste correctly. By pausing only the fuel excise tax and only until September, the Liberals have acknowledged that cutting taxes is the answer, but their half-measure plan saves far less than our Conservative plan. So will the Liberals admit their mistake this afternoon and implement our full plan today to promote real relief for Canadian families?
Hear, hear. The honourable member for Sydney Glace Bay.
Mr. Speaker, good news. Canada has reached the NATO 2% defence spending target. Half a decade ahead of schedule and the largest year-over-year increase for our defence budget in generations. This is a proud moment, and I want to congratulate the Prime Minister and the Minister of National Defence for their leadership in making it happen. Now, Mr. Speaker, this is more than a number. It's a signal to the world that Canada is serious about defending what we've built and protecting what we value. And Cape Breton knows this very well, Mr. Speaker, because Sydney has been selected as the preferred home for Canada's next generation of polar ice vessels, bringing jobs, strengthening our sovereignty, and putting our community at the center of the defence renewal. Mr. Speaker, we are rebuilding and we are rearming. And in a world that is watching, Mr. Speaker, Canada once again will lead the way.
The honourable member for Calgary East.
No one is surprised this Liberal Prime Minister stole another Conservative idea. But like a typical Liberal, he only
thumbs up for Joss Raj.
Took a part of it. The Prime Minister said he was looking for solutions. We put one right in front of him. Conservatives are calling for all federal fuel taxes to be removed for the rest of this year, including the excise tax, the GST, the Liberal fuel standard, and the industrial carbon tax. Canadians would save 25 cents per litre at the pump, and families would save $1,200 just this year. But instead, the Liberals announced a half measure and kept all the Liberal fuel taxes in place that are driving up the cost of gas, groceries, and transportation. Canadians are paying 20 cents more per litre than the Americans, and the difference is federal Liberal fuel taxes. Today, Conservatives brought a motion forward to remove all federal taxes for the rest of the year for Canadians. If the Prime Minister is going to steal our ideas, he should at least be willing to steal them whole.
The honourable member for Etobicoke Lakeshore.
Mr. Speaker, last night Canadians made a big decision in University Rosedale, Scarborough Southwest, and Terrebonne by putting their trust in this government, this new government plan, and our Prime Minister. To everyone who put their name on the ballot, I want to say thank you. Our democracy is better off for your participation. I would like to congratulate our new colleagues, Danielle Martin, Dolly Bagan, and of course, welcome back our colleague, Tatiana Agala. This government has a clear mandate to continue action on important issues that matter most to Canadians. And with these three newly elected colleagues and under the leadership of our Prime Minister, we will do just that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Here, here. Oral questions. Questions orales. The honourable member for Regina Capel.
After weeks of conservative pressure, Liberals finally admitted that their...
The honourable member for Hamilton West was standing. I don't know if he has a question. From the top, the honourable member for Regina Capel.
After weeks of Conservative pressure, Liberals finally admitted that their high fuel taxes are hammering Canadians at the pumps. But in typical Liberal fashion, this Prime Minister has proven to be just another Liberal, keeping more windfall taxes for government than providing relief for Canadians. The Liberal announcement today is simply not good enough. It's only going to provide a third of the relief for a third of the year. The Conservative plan is to scrap 100% of federal fuel taxes for the entire rest of the year. So if they're going to admit that Conservatives were right all along, why not just go all the way and adopt our full plan?
Honorable Ministre des Finances.
Mr. Speaker, I know it's Tuesday. There's so much good news, I don't know where to start, Mr. Speaker. Just look at their face. Mr. Speaker, they should be smiling. The International Monetary Fund just announced that Canada is forecasted to have the second fastest growth in the G7, Mr. Speaker. We are suspending the federal fuel excise tax, Mr. Speaker, on gasoline from the 20th of April until Labor Day. Mr. Speaker, every day is a good day to...
The honourable member for Regina Capel.
Mr. Speaker, good times are almost here, just a little over the horizon, but right now there's no smile on motorists' face because they were expecting 100% relief at the pumps. Under this Liberal government plan, they will still continue to collect windfall taxes and hard-working Canadians will have to pay more at the pump. The Liberal government is keeping the GST on fuel and the fuel standard taxes, which adds alone 7 cents a litre. They are only providing a third of the relief for a third of the year. You don't give a pharmacist a high five when he only gives you 1/3 of your prescription. So why not just go all the way, reduce, scrap, eliminate 100% of fuel taxes for...
The Honourable Minister of Energy and Natural Resources.
Speaker, unlike the opposition who don't have a plan, we have a plan. We have reduced the price on gasoline by 28 cents a litre since we became the government. We are reducing taxes for Canadians. We are reducing GST for Canadians. We're reducing development charges on homes. In my riding, saving $200,000 a home. That's how you deal with affordability, Mr. Speaker.
L'honorable député de Charlebourg, Haute-Saint-Charles.
Monsieur le Président, alors que les Canadiens peinent à payer l'épicerie, le gouvernement libéral propose encore une fois des demi-mesures. L'annonce du premier ministre ne touche qu'une fraction des taxes sur le carburant et seulement pour quelques mois. Il s'agit d'une mesure qui représenterait une réduction d'à peine 10 cents le litre. Pendant ce temps, le prix à la pompe...
Un instant, s'il vous plaît. Il y a trop de bruit qui vient du coin à ma droite, alors le député peut commencer dès le début.
Monsieur le Président, alors que les Canadiens peinent à payer l'épicerie, le gouvernement libéral propose encore une fois des demi-mesures. L'annonce du premier ministre ne touche qu'une fraction.
I don't mean to interrupt, guys, but like there's no translation, and I'm wondering why. Like, so we're gonna try to find out if we can get something with a translated signal.
Président, on est mardi, mais il y a tellement de bonnes nouvelles. Je sais pas où commencer, Monsieur le Président.
We'll see.
Justement, ce matin, Monsieur le Président, le Fonds monétaire international indiquait que le Canada aura la deuxième croissance la plus rapide du G7, Monsieur le Président. Deuxièmement, Monsieur le Président, on annonce la suspension de la taxe d'assises fédérale sur l'essence et le diesel, Monsieur le Président. Une mesure qui va laisser 2,4 milliards dans les poches des Canadiens et Canadiennes, Monsieur le Président. C'est une excellente nouvelle pour les automobilistes, c'est une excellente nouvelle pour les consommateurs et c'est une excellente nouvelle pour les Canadiens.
Haute-Saint-Charles. L'honorable député de Charlebourg, Haute-Saint-Charles.
Monsieur le Président, il y aura vraiment de vraies bonnes nouvelles quand ce gouvernement-là va faire les choses à 100%. Pendant 3 ans, on a demandé d'éliminer la taxe carbone. Ils l'ont fait. Là, maintenant, on demande d'enlever toutes les taxes sur l'essence. TPS, taxe d'assises, combustible propre inclus. Est-ce que le gouvernement est prêt à aller jusqu'au bout pour aider les Canadiens qui vivent la vraie réalité tous les jours de payer trop cher pour tout?
Honorable ministre de la Transformation du gouvernement.
Monsieur le Président, je suis très fier de l'annonce qui a été faite par le Premier ministre et le ministre des Finances qui retourne 2,4 milliards, Monsieur le Président, aux Canadiens pour faire face au coût de la vie, Monsieur le Président. Mais on ne s'arrête pas là. On a baissé les impôts pour 22 millions de Canadiens. On a l'allocation canadienne pour enfants, le régime canadien de soins dentaires, l'allocation pour l'épicerie. J'ai de la misère à toutes les nommer, Monsieur le Président, tellement il y en a. Et ce sont là toutes des mesures contre lesquelles...
What he's saying there is that, like, the finance minister has answered these questions. That's enough of that. Like, let's get on to the next thing.
Ils ont voté, ils n'ont aucune leçon à nous donner quant à l'aide qu'on offre aux Canadiens pour faire face au coût de la vie. Merci beaucoup.
The honourable member for...
And he says, like, let us get back to work. Like, again, my French isn't great, but I understand.
Foothills.
The Liberals' gas change amounts to what is really chump change. It's only for a third of the year for a third of the tax. It's not relief when you barely save 10 cents a litre on gas and 4 cents a litre on diesel. It's not relief when you still have to pay the GST and the Liberal fuel tax. Canadians are going to get back pennies. Meanwhile, the Liberals are collecting billions of dollars in federal gas tax revenue. Why the half measure? Why not adopt the Conservative plan to remove all the Liberal taxes on fuel, on diesel and gas?
Right on. The Honourable Government Health Leader.
Look, in addition to all this good news, Mr. Speaker, I want to highlight one additional measure the Prime Minister...
They don't care about Canadians. They care about the status of the Liberal Party. That is only ever been it.
And my colleagues announced today, and that is that Canadians are going to find it less expensive to get out and travel around the country this summer because we are lowering the excise tax on jet fuel, Mr. Speaker. We are going to reduce domestic flights, the cost of domestic flights. We will even go...
Carney flew around the world 6.8 times this year. Like, they're worried about jet fuel.
Visit the member in Foothills, Mr. Speaker. Get out and enjoy et vive le Canada, Monsieur le Président.
The honourable member for Foothills.
Incredible how the Liberals could twist themselves in pretzels. When it wasn't that long ago, they were accusing all Conservatives of taking a summer vacation while the planet burned. And now they're saying we can travel around the world. It's not a benefit. When the Liberals are pocketing billions of dollars in gas tax revenue right from the pockets of Canadians who are struggling just to buy the basics. Why do the Liberals take these half measures? Why don't they really follow a Conservative policy and eliminate all of the Liberal taxes on fuel so Canadians can afford that summer vacation we'd all love to take?
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think, Mr. Speaker, the reality is the global instability has created an atmosphere where we had to react, Mr. Speaker, and we're reacting. I credit the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance for coming forward with this. I hear it from the farmers on the front line, Mr. Speaker, every other day, concerned about the crop that they're going to put in. Second growing fastest economy. That's a contribution from our farmers, Mr. Speaker. 28 cents a litre since this new government has been put in place. And $2.4 billion back in the pockets of Canadians. It is a good day, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable député de Saint-Jean.
Monsieur le Président, l'information régionale est en péril et c'est encore plus vrai pour l'information régionale en français, d'où l'importance du Fonds pour les nouvelles locales indépendantes. Mais depuis que le CRTC a admis au fond 15 stations anglophones du groupe Chorus, la part des médias francophones dégringole. Les deux seuls groupes francophones admissibles ont perdu presque la moitié de leur financement, lequel est passé de 26 à 14 %. Évidemment, la solution, c'est que les GAFAM contribuent au financement des médias, mais il faut d'abord que l'information régionale en français survive. Est-ce que le gouvernement va bonifier le fonds?
She's warning right there about the media not getting enough government money to be funded. They want more for French language.
L'honorable ministre de l'Identité et de la Culture canadienne.
Nous savons, Monsieur le Président, que grâce au fonds, plusieurs médias régionaux francophones reçoivent de l'argent du gouvernement fédéral justement pour donner de l'information en français. Nous regardons toutes les options dans un environnement où ces plateformes, où ces diffuseurs sont sous menace de ces grandes plateformes. Oui.
député de Saint-Jean.
He just said I'm a coward and I have no way to pay for your stupid French.
Financer les médias d'information régionale en anglais, pas de problème, mais pas en pigeant dans la part des médias francophones. Si on ajoute des participants au fonds pour les nouvelles locales indépendantes, ben on doit aussi ajouter des sommes. Évidemment, on n'aurait pas ce problème-là si le premier ministre n'avait pas coupé la taxe sur les services numériques. On aurait pu financer décemment tous nos médias avec la juste part des GAFAM, mais puisque le
Is that a denim skirt?
premier ministre prive nos médias de ces revenus-là, est-ce qu'il va bonifier le fonds?
Avec la question qu'on vient de voir, Monsieur le Président, on voit la vraie face du Bloc québécois, toujours en train de mettre les médias anglophones contre les médias francophones. Je pense qu'on peut faire les deux choses en même temps. Merci.
The honourable member for Newtecomseh-Gwillimbury.
He said that he likes the way men look in denim skirts. It's a weird thing to say.
Mr. Speaker, this Prime Minister's temporary half measures on fuel prices shows he's more focused on increasing government revenues than offering real relief to Canadians at the pump. The Liberals will rake up to $10 billion more in taxes, while Canadians will save just 10 cents a litre. Here we go again, Mr. Speaker. Billions for this Liberal government, but pennies for Canadians. Why should soccer moms, seniors, and young people pay the price at the pump for this Prime Minister's overspending?
The Honourable Minister of Energy and Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, let me help my friend on the other side of the aisle. We have cut taxes by 28 cents a litre since this new government came into office. We have cut income taxes. We have cut GST. We have cut the cost of a home in Markham Thornhill, my riding, by $200,000 a year in total. That's what affordability looks like.
The honourable member for Newtecomseh-Gwillimbury.
Well, Mr. Speaker, this announcement will barely move the needle for Canadians drowning in credit card debt just to fill up. Instead of adopting the Conservative plan to eliminate all taxes on fuel and save Canadian families $1,218 until 2027, the Liberals' half-baked plan will only save families 10 cents a litre for a couple of months. No one has a monopoly on good idea, Mr. Speaker, so why is this Prime Minister refusing to listen to Conservatives and offer real relief to Canadians at the pump?
The Honourable Minister des Finances.
Mr. Speaker, I would agree with my colleague, and he's a man of good heart. Clearly, the Conservatives do not have the monopoly on good ideas. That I can confirm, that's for sure. Mr. Speaker, what I can say is that I know in his heart that he knows that a measure that will save Canadians will save $2.4 billion, Mr. Speaker. That is a responsible measure to take. It is a significant boost to families and soccer moms and people who are in the logistic business, Mr. Speaker. It's going to help our farmers. It's going to help our fishers. It's going to help all Canadians at the time of need. Mr. Speaker, people at home that we have always been there for them and that will continue to fight for them every day.
The honourable member for Fundy Royal.
Speaker, once again, the Liberals have shown the Canadians that the best solution for taxpayers is found in the Conservative Party of Canada. But instead of committing to real relief at the pumps for the rest of the year, this Prime Minister announced a short-term pause that only affects 1/3 of his government's taxes on fuel and for only 1/3 of the year. He's still refusing to pause the GST on gas and diesel, the industrial carbon tax, and the clean fuel standard. Why do the Liberals insist on part measures instead of adopting our Conservative plan to remove all federal taxes on gas and diesel to save Canadians 25 cents a litre?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Financial Institutions.
Mr. Speaker, while that leader continues his podcast tour, on this side of the House, we're going to continue to focus on affordability for Canadians. Just this morning, our Prime Minister announced a pause to the federal excise tax, 10 cents a litre. Combine that with the cut in the consumer carbon tax, that is 28 cents a litre savings that goes back to Canadians' pockets. On this side of the House, we're going to continue to focus on affordability. We're going to continue to deliver that for Canadians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Fundy Royal.
Mr. Speaker, it's actually too generous to call the Liberals' latest proposal announced today even a half measure. People are suffering under the increased fuel cost and increased fuel taxes, yet the government has decided they will continue to reap a massive GST windfall on the backs of overtaxed Canadians. By fully committing to our plan, a family of 4 would save more than $1,200 just this year. Will the Liberals do the right thing, adopt our plan to save 25 cents a litre by cutting all federal fuel taxes off Canadian drivers for the rest of this year?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker. Liberals can focus on 2 things at one time.
Cows can do that. They can like drop cow patties and think about how to steal your money.
The Honourable Minister may start from the top, please.
Well, here's the thing, Mr.
Translate
Speaker.
on top of it. Okay, excuse me, is the translation working now? Ça va?
No.
Vous entendez la traduction?
No.
Oui.
Now it's working.
Ça va? It's working, the translation? Okay, from the top, the Honourable Minister.
Well, 3rd time's a charm, Mr. Speaker. Here's the thing. We can focus on 2 things at the same time. We can help families with urgent cost relief right now, which we're doing by eliminating the fuel excise tax. But what we can also do, and this is the part Conservatives don't get, is help with long-term sustainable affordability. That's where things like affordable child care come in, or removing the HST from new homes, or making sure that there's school food programs, or ensuring that Canada Child Benefit is there for families. We want to be there for families now when the crisis is urgent, but also in the long term, and that's the kind of stuff they vote against every time.
The Honourable Member for Regina Luban.
Mr. Speaker, Conservatives have brought forward a plan to eliminate the gas tax, GST on gas and diesel, the industrial carbon tax, and the fuel standard tax for the rest of 2026. This would cut costs at the pump by 25 cents per litre and save a family of 4 up to $1,200 this year. Why is this Liberal Prime Minister shortchanging Canadian families and not cutting all taxes for the whole year?
The Honourable Secretary.
They're going to be obnoxious,
Secretary
guys.
of State for Rural Development.
Mr. Speaker, as I've
look,
said
they
from
send up
time
a
to
drunk.
time, they've been here 10 years, the Conservatives across the way. I've been here 10 months, and guess what? I get to announce the tax break for the farming community in Saskatchewan, Mr. Speaker. All this done within a 10-month time frame.
The Honourable Member for Regina Luban.
Mr. Speaker, I've known that member for a very, very long time, and I made a career out of cleaning up his messes. Him and the NDP destroyed Saskatchewan for 16 years, and now he came to the Liberals and is destroying the economy of Canada. So once again, after he's finished ruining the economy for Canadians, once again, we'll clean up his mess for all Canadians so they can get ahead.
Do you think that old drunk gets back up?
I'm not sure there was a question in that. But
Who's that? Bucky Boulanger? Like, he's such a lush.
the Honourable Secretary of State.
Purely wasted. Watch this. It's embarrassing. Like, for real. And he's getting paid, what, 200, 300 grand of your tax money to be drunk on this public stage, and he's hidden behind some kind of whatever woke defense.
The member is correct. I've watched his underperformance in the provincial assembly in Saskatchewan. Now I'm watching their collective underperformance. All 13 of the Saskatchewan Conservative MPs, Mr. Speaker. And let me remind folks today, we are announcing uranium development in northern Saskatchewan, Mr. Speaker. This week I was at Suma announcing wastewater and sewer projects and water projects for 3 cities, Mr. Speaker. This government's on a move, and as I've mentioned before, Mr. Speaker, great news, we're just getting started.
Not a good sign.
Honourable Member for Similkameen, South Okanagan, West Kootenay.
Today, the Liberals Liberals announced they're adopting a third of our gas relief plan for just a third of the year. But residents in the Similkameen, South Okanagan, West Kootenay don't just drive for the summer. Our plan would take excise, GST, and fuel standard tax off of gas and diesel for the rest of 2026. That would cut costs at the pump by 25 cents per litre, $1,200 for a family of four. Will the Liberals end the tax grab and save Canadians 25 cents a litre?
The Honourable Minister of Veterans Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, British Columbians are happy to hear that we are investing
Lisa Simpson grew up wrong.
In them and that we are addressing affordability for them. They are happy to hear that we are making a reduction in fuel costs from now until Labor Day, and British Columbians are going to use that to go and enjoy our country as they can this summer, and maybe they'll also combine that with the Canada Summer Pass as they go and explore this wonderful country.
L'honorable député de Sheffield.
Nous y voilà encore. Comme chaque année, les travailleurs saisonniers sont plongés dans le trou noir de l'assurance-emploi. Les travailleurs des pêches, de la forêt, du tourisme et bien d'autres n'ont plus un sou de revenus pour des semaines. Ça fait plus de 10 ans que les libéraux promettent une réforme globale de l'assurance-emploi et ils devront tenir promesse. Mais dans l'immédiat, les travailleurs saisonniers ont besoin de 15 semaines de plus chaque année. Quand les libéraux vont-ils boucher pour toujours le trou noir de l'assurance-emploi? Bravo!
Just in case anybody didn't catch that, and my French is pretty rusty, but I used to be able to speak. I think what she said was, when I was a man a couple of years ago, nobody had a problem going to visit Quebec for tourism, but now our restaurants are struggling because of this division. I think that sums it up.
Minister of Jobs and Families.
Monsieur le Président, l'ensemble pour le poids, c'est très important pour travailler tout le pays. Ça, c'est la raison de nous améliorer le programme et ajouter les choses pour les travailleurs qui face les situations très difficiles. It's why we've actually added measures to ensure that workers that are facing hard times.
That is not what she just said. She just said something about like letting all the people in Quebec suck her big fat liberal.
Get what they deserve as fast as they can and ensure that they have the weeks they need to stay financially viable.
L'honorable député de Côte-Nord, Kawawachikamach-Nitassinan.
Monsieur le Président, les travailleurs saisonniers ne demandent pas la lune.
Wednesday Adams is out. I wonder what she's going to say.
L'Alliance interprovinciale de l'assurance-emploi l'a calculé. Ça coûterait 1 cent par 100 $ de salaire pour mettre fin au trou noir pour toujours. 1 cent noir. Va falloir que le fédéral comprenne que c'est le travail qui est saisonnier en région. Les travailleurs, eux, sont permanents. C'est eux qui font rouler l'économie des régions. Et ils ont besoin de 15 semaines de plus chaque année. Le gouvernement va-t-il enfin boucher de manière permanente le trou noir de l'assurance-emploi?
The Honourable Minister.
I think right there she said something about not getting a face tattoo. Doesn't blame it on the government, but she expects them to pay to have it removed, and it's going to be a two-man job. My French is rusty.
C'est très important, les travailleurs de Canada, avoir la confiance dans notre système emploi et assurance. Ça, c'est la raison. Nous avons ajouté les choses pour supporter les travailleurs de tout le pays. Et je vais travailler avec mon homologue, mon collègue, là, pour écouter l'autre chose pour aider les travailleurs.
This French, like, again, I'm rusty. I took a couple of courses, though, back in the day. I think she tried to explain right there that, like, she understands what it's like to be a whore and get a facial tattoo by mistake and expect the government to remove it. She understands about stains on your face.
Le député de Mégantic-Lérable-Lotbinière.
Monsieur le Président, encore une fois, ce premier ministre libéral confirme que les conservateurs ont les vraies solutions.
que ce gouvernement n'a pas changé, qu'il n'est pas capable de rien régler. Les libéraux offrent des miettes. Leur annonce ne touche qu'un tiers des taxes sur le carburant pour un tiers d'année. Puis pendant ce temps-là, ils vont continuer d'empocher 10 milliards de dollars par année des poches des automobilistes. La vraie solution, c'est d'abolir toutes les taxes sur l'essence. Alors pourquoi, après 10 ans, les libéraux sont même pas capables de faire comme faut les choses, même à moitié?
Honorable secrétaire d'État.
That's a pretty easy one. He just said Rosie at CBC sucks.
La nature.
I think.
Monsieur le Président, ce qu'on
rusty.
est en train de faire, c'est de travailler sur le pouvoir d'achat des Canadiens de toutes sortes de façons possibles. On ne fait pas juste une chose, on en fait plusieurs. On marche, on mange de la gomme, on parle à nos amis au téléphone, on fait plein d'affaires en même temps. Donc, on travaille sur l'économie, les jobs. Les données d'aujourd'hui rapportent que notre croissance économique est reconnue. On a réduit la taxe d'essence et puis on a aussi un tas de programmes qui vont aider les Canadiens à soutenir cette crise difficile. Merci.
Again, my French, but she just explained that if you drink the Kool-Aid, you get really rich. It doesn't matter what your background is or if you have some nostalgic story to sell. It can get you ahead. It can get you a cabinet position like me. She's a twit. Anyhow, it was all about drinking the Kool-Aid and like the big payoff that follows. My French.
Honorable député de Mégantic-Lérable-Lotbinière.
Ils le reconnaissent, Monsieur le Président. On est dans une crise difficile, puis ça fait plus de 10 ans qu'ils sont au pouvoir. C'est qui a mis le Canada dans cet état-là? Ben, c'est le gouvernement libéral qui n'a pas changé puis qui est le même depuis 10 ans, Monsieur.
He's asking about, like, where do you get all that Kool-Aid?
Parti conservateur, Monsieur le Président,
Watch.
mais pas à
It
moitié.
keeps going.
À 100.
They're arguing about how much Kool-Aid can you get from the Liberal Party if you just cross a floor. Like, how rich can you get?
Puis là, on va être d'accord avec eux autres, Monsieur le Président.
L'honorable ministre.
Monsieur le Président, si elle veut parler, je suis très fier qu'on ait éliminé la taxe carbone, Monsieur le Président, qui a réduit au pays de 28 cents le litre, Monsieur le Président. Mais je noterais, Monsieur le Président, quand même l'ironie de voir la députée d'en face qui a été au gouvernement, qui a au Québec mis en place un prix sur la pollution avec le système de plafond à échange. L'ironie est à son comble. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président.
L'honorable député de Lévis-Lotbinière.
Sorry, gang, I'm done with this bullshit. Like, we're going to find out if they're just messing with us or if they shut down the translators because there's only so many times you can make that joke. So we're going to find out. Just curious. We'll get there.
Increasingly fragmented world, one that is more complex, more volatile, and more unpredictable. In this environment, Canadians have done what they have always done. We have rolled up our sleeves, looked out for one another, and adapted. This work belongs to all of us. This is Canada's moment to build together. Last night, Mr. Speaker, the good people of Scarborough Southwest, University Rosedale, and Terrebonne placed their faith in this plan. Mr. Speaker, could the Minister of Finance please update the House on the next steps in our plan to build a strong and resilient Canadian economy and give us some...
L'honorable ministre des Finances.
Tuesday.
Mr. Speaker, Budget 2025 presented generational investments in housing and infrastructure, in productivity innovation, and our defense, Mr. Speaker. It's a plan to grow the strongest economy in the G7. Mr. Speaker, I will have the pleasure to present the spring economic update on the 28th of April to this House, Mr. Speaker. This is going to be a plan that is going to help families, it's going to help our industry, it's going to help our nation, Mr. Speaker, to prosper and to obviously bring good news to Canadians across the nation.
Thank you. The honourable member for Halliburton, Kawartha Link.
Speaker, Canadians are facing rising costs, economic uncertainty, and housing challenges. Now, with the Cowichan ruling in British Columbia, it's adding a new layer of doubt about whether homes in the city of Richmond are truly secure. Home ownership is the foundation of financial stability for millions of Canadians, yet the Liberals have failed to clearly defend it in court. Will the Prime Minister instruct his lawyers to unequivocally argue that private property rights of Canadian homeowners must come first and finally provide the certainty Canadians demand.
Honourable Minister for Crown Indigenous Relations.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me be clear. Canadians can still buy, sell, inherit, and renovate their homes under provincial and municipal law. We disagreed with the Cowichan ruling and appealed it on September 8, 2025. We believe the Cowichan decision requires legal clarity. That's why the government will pursue all legal options through the appeal process. We will protect private property owners and uphold the Constitution without fear-mongering.
The Honourable Member for Haliburton, Kawartha Lakes.
Speaker, the government filed their appeal at the last second, but here is the thing. In 2018, the government instructed their lawyers not to make the argument that fee simple property is supreme while the case was in the lower courts. And unfortunately for the property owners involved, the government can't mount an appeal with an argument it did not make originally. So I ask the minister, please help Canadians, help us all understand how the government intends to win a court case with an argument they can't make.
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, again, we are appealing the Cowichan ruling and we will be pursuing all legal options. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Hear, hear. Senator Marpole.
Mr. Speaker, this Liberal government avoids the question, hiding behind appeals and technical definitions, instead of stating a clear and substantive position.
That's right.
This is apparent. In court and backroom agreements, the Liberals refuse to say whether they will stand up for Canadian home owners. Canadians deserve certainty.
That's right.
Will the Prime Minister direct lawyers to argue that the private property rights of Canadian home owners must come first? Yes or no?
The Honourable Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations.
Monsieur le Président, permettez-moi d'être clair.
Let me be clear, Mr. Speaker. We will ensure that people can still use provincial and municipal rules when they are renovating and selling their houses. We do not agree with the ruling, and we appealed it on September 8th, 2025. We believe that the Cowichan ruling requires legal clarification. That is why.
And I thought my French was bad.
The government will be pursuing all legal options through the appeals process. We will protect property and our Constitution. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Richmond, Centre Marlpole.
Mr. Speaker, appealing the decision is not the question. The government still has not said whether it's arguing that Canadian homeowners' public property rights come first. I will keep asking this question until there's a clear answer.
That's right.
Will they make that position clear in court and in all future agreements? Yes or no?
Here. The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Mr. Speaker, my honourable colleague had asked us to state the position of the Government of Canada clearly. We disagree with the decision of the Superior Court in British Columbia. We have decided to appeal that decision in order to pursue a different outcome. At trial, we defended fee simple and believe that more clarity is needed, particularly on the issue of private property rights. Mr. Speaker, these debates are legal debates. The appropriate forum for them to take place is through the appeal process, not on the floor of the House of Commons.
The Honourable Member for Skeena-Bulkley Valley.
The Cowichan ruling has created uncertainty for homeowners and First Nations in BC, calling into question whether private property rights are secure. Canadians are already struggling with affordability. They should not have to wonder whether or not they own their own homes. Cowichan themselves said they did not seek to invalidate private property ownership. Will the Prime Minister direct his lawyers to clearly argue in court that private property rights of Canadian homeowners must be a priority as well?
The Honourable Minister for Crown Indigenous Relations.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I've told the House, we are appealing the decision. But what I would like to point out is that courts is one way of settling the Aboriginal title. Negotiations is another, and that's what we've done in that member's jurisdiction. We have been working with the government of British Columbia as well as the Haida Nation. It's been 2 years since the Haida title agreement has been in place in the province of British Columbia. The sky hasn't fallen, Mr. Speaker. Private property is protected under the Haida agreement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Skeena-Bulkley Valley.
This could have been avoided. This could have been avoided. This Liberal government's secretive approach to agreements like the Musqueam Rights Recognition Agreement without transparency or clear protections for private property has added to the anxiety that private property owners are already experiencing. The consequences are uncertainty, stalled sales, and the potential to derail previous reconciliation efforts. Will the Prime Minister commit today that no future agreements will be signed unless they explicitly protect and prioritize the private property rights?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let's be clear. This band of Conservatives is who is sowing dissent and anxiety in Canada. The government has been crystal clear. We support. Some respect.
Okay,
be from the top.
Give me
a break. Come on.
I didn't really hear all the words there, but it was an interruption. So the minister may start from the top.
Pretend like you're talking to.
And he may thank you, Mr. From the top again, if the honourable member for Thompson-Nicola continues. So the honourable minister. Okay. The honourable member for Lakeland, I think it is. Okay, the honourable member will be the honourable.
Come on, Frank the Tank. Get it together.
Let's just all take a moment. Take a moment. Okay.
Frank has lost control.
All I know is that we don't have the required silence, and unfortunately, I can't hear all the banter. That's the unfortunate part. So I don't know who's to blame, who was first, and all of that. But let's have some quiet so that the Minister of Housing and Infrastructure can start from the top and answer this very important question on this very important issue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll reinforce the concerns that this side of the House has about the anxiety and the fear-mongering that the Conservatives are pushing on this issue. This is a very serious issue. This government supports the appeal. This government supports the rights of private property owners. This government supports reconciliation. We will pursue the course of action, appealing the Superior Court decision in BC. We will see justice and clarity on this. We don't need politics played by the Conservatives to make this worse for Canadians.
The honourable member for Mission Matsqui, Abbotsford.
Mr. Speaker, what I'm seeing today from the government is a government pursuing confusion, a policy of confusion, and a policy of confusion that has the whole province of British Columbia upset. So earlier today in question period, the Minister of Indigenous Relations said that the government will pursue all legal options. Can she just clarify for British Columbians whether that includes an argument to protect the private property rights of the British Columbians impacted by the Cowichan decision? Yes or no, a straight answer in good faith.
The Honourable Minister of Veterans Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, Canada disagrees with the BC Supreme Court's ruling, and we appealed it on September 8th. We are committed to maintaining legal clarity and stability for private land ownership. Further legal clarity is required to address the decision, particularly as it relates to private property rights.
There we go. The Honourable Member for Abbotsford South Langley.
The Cowichan ruling has raised very real concerns about the security of property rights in Canada. At a time of high cost and economic uncertainty, Canadians should not be questioning the ownership of their homes. The Liberals negotiated the Musqueam agreement in secret with no transparency, leaving homeowners unable to sell and builders unwilling to invest, all during a housing crisis. Will the Liberals commit to protecting Canadian rights by ensuring no future agreements are signed without clearly stating that private properties are coming first and are protected?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, our government has made it clear, first by appealing the decision and then by making clear statements that we not only stand for and will defend property rights. The concern here, Mr. Speaker, is that the opposition isn't...
It was his very first trip to the bathroom with Melanie Jolie. He's all wound up.
...interested in the answer. What they're interested in is our government has made it clear.
He's all wound
The
up.
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, our government has made it clear, first by appealing the decision and then by making clear statements that we not only stand for and will defend property rights. The concern here, Mr. Speaker, is that the opposition isn't interested in the answer. What they're interested in is fear-mongering, spreading misinformation, driving mistrust in the market, creating economic uncertainty. That's what they're about. We're about making sure we're protecting property rights, building a strong economy, and pursuing reconciliation.
The Honourable Member for Cloverdale, Langley City.
I held a town hall with business leaders in my riding, and I expected to hear about tariffs and red tape. Instead, the number one concern by far was this: do we still even own our own homes? Decisions like the Cowichan ruling and the Liberal secret Musqueam agreement are shaking confidence in property rights. Investment is freezing, builders are backing off, and uncertainty is growing. And people are starting to wonder if we're drifting toward that "you'll own nothing and be happy" mantra. Is that where this...
Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Reconciliation and economic development go hand in hand. That's right. Through litigation, we are defending private property. And for those nations where we are in negotiations with the government of British Columbia and First Nations, it's the opportunity to sit down at the table and actually be clear that private property is excluded. So we will continue through litigation as well as negotiation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
L'honorable député de
The honourable member for Brome-Missisquoi. Mr. Speaker, the new government of Canada recently announced a Force of Nature Canada strategy to protect nature. With an investment of $3.8 billion, this new strategy will enable us to protect and restore essential habitat, to ensure that our industrial strategies complement our conservation efforts and mobilize new capital for nature. Can the Secretary of State Nature tell Canadians about our new plan to protect our natural environment for the generations to come? The Honourable Secretary of State Nature. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank my colleague for Brome-Missisquoi for this question and for his hard work to protect nature. Nature is so important for Canadians, and that is why our government is maintaining its objective of protecting 30% of our lands and waters by 2030. Thanks to a Force of Nature Canada strategy to protect nature, we will protect nature more effectively and at a lower cost, especially by mobilizing private capital. We, like Canadians, care deeply about nature, and we will protect it.
The Honourable Member for St. Albert, the Sturgeon River.
Mr. Speaker, for more than 8 hours, Liberal MPs have been filibustering to shield the Finance Minister from appearing before the Ethics Committee to answer questions about his role in directing billions of tax dollars to the Alto high-speed rail project, notwithstanding that his partner is none other than a VP at Alto. This raises serious questions about a potential conflict of interest. If the minister has nothing to hide, will he tell these filibustering Liberal MPs to stop and come to committee?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Well, Mr. Speaker, as that member knows, Canadian members of Parliament, designated public office holders, we follow among the most stringent ethics rules in the world. We will comply vigorously, as has my colleague, the Minister of Finance. And I would take this opportunity to remind the honourable member across that Alto is a Crown corporation, 100% owned by Canadians.
The Honourable Member for St. Albert, Sturgeon River.
Mr. Speaker, the minister has acknowledged a conflict in respect of Alto, hence setting up the so-called ethics screen. Yet he has repeatedly introduced spoken on and voted on legislation to advance the project. And instead of clearing the air, we now have this spectacle of Liberal MPs filibustering at committee to shield the minister from accountability. So it begs the question, is this what Canadians can expect a Liberal majority government to look like?
Good question. The Honourable Government House Leader.
While we're on the topic, Mr. Speaker, let's talk about the dream of high-speed rail for Canadians. 1,000 kilometers.
I don't give a shit about high-speed rail. I live in like rural Nova Scotia. It affects me zero. I don't want it to spend any money on it. It's not a dream. I've seen it in other places. I've been on high-speed rail. It's not a dream. Don't speak for me.
Will change the face of mobility in this country for workers, for students, for people who live in one city and work, play, or study in another. This will take greenhouse gases out of the atmosphere and will change life for millions of Canadians, Mr. Speaker. This is the kind of project Conservatives used to dream about. The Liberal government is going to build high-speed rail with or without.
The Honourable Member for Hastings, Lennox and Addington, Diane Dinaga.
In February 2025, this Prime Minister announced a project that will see thousands of property owners across Ontario and Quebec face expropriation, communities divided, and Canadians forced to pay over $90 billion. From day one, this government has failed to answer even the most basic question about the cost, timing, impacts, routes, or construction. This isn't government vision, Mr. Speaker. It's reckless vanity. Will the minister finally listen to the thousands of concerned property owners in Eastern Ontario, cancel Alto high-speed rail, and invest in priorities and infrastructures that Canadians actually need?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, just 3 years ago, in 2023, a grand gathering of Conservatives gathered in convention and solemnly debated the great dream of high-speed rail in this country. And you know what conclusion they came to? Overwhelmingly, Conservative delegates just 3 years ago said, let's build high-speed rail in this country. Now, this leader cynically goes and says he would cancel it. These Conservatives, Mr. Speaker, used to think big. Now it's up.
L'honorable député de Rivière-des-Mille-Îles.
McKinnon's hard to take, gang.
The Honourable Member for Rivière-des-Mille-Îles.
That's stupid.
Mr. Speaker, over the last year, Canadians have had to adapt to a rapidly changing, fragmented world. The world is more complex, less stable, and for many, it is more costly and unpredictable. In this context, Canadians are doing what they've always done. They roll up their sleeves, they support each other, and they adapt.
Anyways, that's the end of question period. I think we're jumping into this.
The pleasure of presenting to this House on April 28th the Spring Economic Statement. We are going to continue building an inclusive and strong Canada.
The Honourable Member for Wellington, Halton Hills North.
Mr. Speaker, Iran is a serial violator of human rights, and because of that, the government formally designates Iran as a state supporter of terrorism under the State Immunity Act. However, last Wednesday, the Liberal government voted in favor of Iran's membership to the United Nations Committee for Program and Coordination, which plans, programs, and coordinates human rights at the United Nations. Why did the government vote in favor of Iran's membership on this committee?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Our Prime Minister has been very clear. We are currently supporting and making sure that civilians and civilian infrastructure must be protected, our international law must be respected, and we will stand for the safety and security of Canadians wherever they may be over the world. Mr. Speaker, we will continue to monitor the efforts that are being done in Iran. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable member for Courtenay Alberni.
Mr. Speaker, 2 months ago, the Minister of Health stood in this House and called herself the guardian of the Canada Health Act. Yet after months of delay, she's failed to act while Danielle Smith expands American-style pay-for-access diagnostics and two-tier care. Canadians can't afford more stalling while our universal healthcare system is undermined. If she's truly the guardian, why is she taking so long to enforce the law and stop this erosion of our public healthcare system?
L'honorable ministre de la Santé.
Kinnan doesn't look right.
Minister of Health.
Acknowledge the concern that my colleagues from the opposite has.
That's
yes,
a
I'm the
voodoo
guardian
right
of
there.
the Canada
That's a voodoo
Health
woman.
Act, and we are working closely with all provinces and territories. We know that Alberta is moving in a direction. My department is having conversation with Alberta right now, and I will have a conversation with my counterparts, and I will get back to you. Thank you.
The honourable member for Saanich Gulf Islands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question goes to the heart of the issue. Does
What time is it? What day is it?
this government respect science? We're seeing cuts announced across environment and climate change in terms of their research efforts, Agriculture Canada and their critical research. Hundreds of scientists around the world have expressed alarm at killing an entire segment of our scientific capacity for insect taxonomy. The question is, has the Prime Minister ever consulted his chief science advisor about these cuts before the pink slips go out?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Industry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the question. As the member knows, we've made record investments in science and research in the 2024 budget and now the 2025 budget on our Impact Plus Chairs program. Some of the work we do is through government science, and we get good advice on that from our hardworking Chief Science Officer. And more importantly, and more in a greater form, we make significant investments through researchers outside of government. I had the recent opportunity to go to Vancouver Island and visit Ocean Networks Canada to accompany my colleague, the member for Victoria, and University of Victoria's Pacific Regional Institute for Marine Energy Discovery and the Centre for Aerospace Research in North Saanich. And I look forward to continuing to build on that work with the member and the member from Victoria.
And that concludes the question period. Okay, we will allow members to leave quietly. That's the end of question period.
I guess he's just asking them not to fight. Like, oh my God, it's so much like to take just to watch those shows. It's just a lot. Anyhow, gang, we're going to wrap it up. Oh, yeah. Right there.
You should do exercises. That's important to our good health. And friends, tomorrow we are going to be visiting with a fisherman who will tell us about his very enjoyable hobby. Now, I would like to see you all to our magic mirror.
Videos this evening.
Romper, bumper, stomper, boo.
That's it.
Tell me, do.
Thank
Magic
you so
mirror,
much
please
to
tell
the
me today.
moderator
Did
team
all of
for
my friends have
helping
fun
me
at
out.
play?
And just this crowd.
All my friends
I
in
love
Alberta.
this chat.
It's nice to see you.
I
And I
enjoy
see
it. Like,
Dan and
it's
Vivian.
the perks
I see
of
Marlon
my
and
day.
Mona. I see
It's
Catherine
like you
and
get to
Harvey.
chat with some
I
friends
see
that you met
Anne and
online.
Elizabeth and
It's a
Jane.
weird time
I
these
see Bert
days, right?
and Nicole, and I see you
Anyways,
too.
if you're just
I hope to see you
watching
tomorrow,
some
right
of the
here
videos and
in
you're wondering, I wonder what would happen if I ever tried to chat. Right here, say hello. You'll
Kick off your weekend with exciting CFL action when the Edmonton Eskimos tackle the BC Lions in Vancouver. Tomorrow night at 10:30 on CFTO TV.
It is the romper world. No doubt about that. We'll catch you tomorrow, gang. Thanks for tuning in. Smash the like